So what is your concern with the stealth war? What do Americans not know? Not just Americans, but the free world or the capitalist world not know that China, that you know?
Well, think about it in this manner. You know, if the USSR and Khrushchev had gone to the UN and said, we don't want to fight, we actually believe in the principles that you are espousing here in the United Nations, and we want to help promote an open world. We want to be partners with you. And rather than banging the shoe and saying, we will crush you, we will bury you. And what if we had then said, okay, instead of, protecting ourselves from you and your active measures, we're going to fully embrace you as a society and welcome your citizens, your business people, welcome your complete integration with your society into our society. And then you have to wonder, well, what would the outcome be? As you know, we wouldn't even trade with the Soviet Union because we were concerned about they're using our technology against us. And so we were fundamentally isolated in terms of our economy. Well, this idea that Khrushchev had, that we will crush you, is the same idea that the Chinese Communist Party has, except rather than doing what Khrushchev did, they said, we want to be your partner. And in fact, it started when Nixon went back in 1972. And essentially it was, we're going to integrate and we're going to voluntarily enable the power and the economic growth of China because we believe that it's going to be mutually beneficial. In reality, what the Chinese Communist Party was doing was taking innovation, technology, talent, and most importantly, capital, because the United States has 40% of the investable capital in the world to build their country, to build their regime, but to do so in a way that didn't really show that they were willing to adopt things like human rights and civil liberties and rule of law, and most importantly, free trade and an open financial system. And so really what they've done is they've completely bilked us, and in doing so, they've hollowed out our society, not just millions of jobs, but also our industrial capacity, while at the same time building their own. And they've done it all in order to perpetuate their rule over the Chinese people.
I've been in Zimbabwe, and I've seen the compounds the Chinese have built there, because when the economy crashed, the Chinese moved in, and they're taking out the resources. I was in Panama when I was watching Chinese negotiate to build a bigger Panama Canal to beat the U.S. Panama Canal. And I was in Cameroon when I saw them trenching. They were trenching fiber optic cable all across Cameroon. They were also thinking of building a road across South America. And so what China is doing is building infrastructure. A lot of these big American funds are taking Chinese capital. So we fund Chinese, but they take our technology. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So imagine, for instance, if you're a venture capital firm and you have several billion dollars invested in Chinese companies, and China comes to you and says, we want you to do X or else. What's your response going to be? How are you going to act? What are you going to be receptive to? The same thing is, if the People's Bank of China came to you and you happen to have a hedge fund, for example, and you're living in New York and you're running an investment firm and you're taking institutional capital, and the People's Bank of China comes to you and says, we want to invest $5 billion, and you know that you get 10% off the top of that, plus a carry. And you're saying, okay, so what are you going to be receptive to? What's going to motivate you? And if the Chinese Communist Party comes to you and says, hey, will you do X? What are you going to do? I think that's the thing that you find within business, is that there is so many incentives that have that, whether you're in the financial industry or whether you're in corporate America, that if you don't do what the Chinese Communist Party asks you to do, there's you'll either lose their investment in you, you'll lose your investment in China, or you will lose access to the Chinese market. When you tie all these things together and you realize that China is integrated in every democracy around the world, then you begin to understand what the Chinese Communist Party has built, which is a quite very favorable influence machine that operates in every capital in the world and operates in all the international institutions like the UN and World Bank.
I've been in Zimbabwe, and I've seen the compounds the Chinese have built there because when the economy crashed, the Chinese moved in, and they're taking out the resources. I was in Panama when I was watching the Chinese negotiate to build a bigger Panama Canal to beat the U.S. Panama Canal. And I was in Cameroon when I saw them trenching. They were trenching fiber optic cable all across Cameroon. They were also thinking of building a road across South America. And so what China is doing is building infrastructure. And also the other thing that is my gold mine in 1999 was in China. And they needed gold, so they took it. So I don't know if Americans know what's going on. It has really nothing to do with Joe Biden or Trump and all this. They can't protect you. I don't trust Chinese governments. I've been screwed so many times by the Chinese, they're not smart people. That accountants and attorneys are not creative. Imagination is more important than knowledge. They have knowledge. They have no imagination. They've never taken a company public. They've never taken nothing and turned it into something. When I found this gold mine in China, they gave it to me for free because it was just the transition when they were shifting to capitalism and any communist project that wasn't making money. So we were shopping in China. Everything was on sale. This is 1989. The communist Berlin Wall fell and all that stuff was falling. So we found this gold mine in Dalian, China. They said, all you have to do is take it public, raise the capital. So we took it public on the Toronto Stock Exchange, the TSE. So we raised $27 million on the Toronto Stock Exchange. We found gold, and the Chinese said, thank you very much.
What I found in my time at the Pentagon as I was studying what the Chinese Communist Party was doing was that they had used the tools of globalization and the internet very much to affect political outcomes, but also economic and social outcomes that favored the Chinese Communist Party. And so, and even to the point where, for example, my son, I remember he sends a text to me and says, Dad, my teacher just said that China is a democracy. This is the power of the Chinese Communist Party to leverage, our institutions, our way of life to not only strengthen themselves, but to do so in a way that really makes it seem like they're like us, but they are in no way like America.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.